Hello and welcome back to On the Break. We're here with a conference championship preview for the NFL. I'm here back with just Mike this time. Okay, it's a little early in the morning. We're recording this thing. Not a lot of people wake up. Okay, it's just what it is. Mike, how we doing today?
Good. And, great time to talk about football, get this video out right before the conference championship. We got a very exciting duel of games for this weekend. Let's get right into it.
Some of the best times of the year. Now, last divisional round, obviously, you want to go back and watch the other video. It was one of the most historic weekends in the history of the NFL. And it's going to be hard for this to live up the hype. I've said that these games aren't going to be that great, but they are good matchups, as always, in conference championship games. There's a lot to get into. And again, we're going to get straight into it. I'm going to start with the 49ers and the Rams, a divisional matchup between these two teams. This will be the third time that this game will take place, this one being a second one in SoFi Stadium, the home of the Super Bowl. And obviously you have the ticket issues with the Rams trying to get 49er fans out of there because they know that Niner fans would be the majority of fans in the building if they were to hold it at SoFi without anything there. But I do think that the Niners are going to have a lot of fans over there in SoFi. But the 49ers, they went out and beat the Packers. The Rams almost got blown out or almost blew out the Bucks, but then the Bucks came back from a 27-3 deficit to tie up the game. And then Cooper Kupp proved why he should be in MVP contention. But that was a great game as well. This should be a solid game. The Niners, 10-7. They are a team that, they've won their games, but they've won them in close fashion. The Rams have been decisive at times as well. And even just the fact that they got up to as big of a lead as they did against the Bucks is a testament to how great this roster is. The roster matchup goes to the Rams as much as possible. Mike, how are we feeling about this game?
This will probably be the game I'm probably going to be watching and paying attention to the most. I think this might be probably the most exciting game, especially since this is a battle of the NFC West, probably the toughest division in all football so far for probably the past decade even, And, when I see these two teams, I see a lot of resilience. I see a lot of physicality. I see a lot of aggression. I see a lot of very high football IQ, especially coming from the young, bright minds of Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. And, me, I've rolled with the Niners this whole playoffs. And I love the Rams. We talked about it before. Rams, by far, the best all-around roster in the league. You look at any position of the Rams, and they do not have a weakness. But I've mentioned before, their kryptonite this season, for some reason, they've been able to win decisive. But the games they have not been decisive in is their two matchups against their NFC West opponent, the 49ers. And I stuck with the Niners. I really like what Kyle Shanahan has done with this team. And honestly, just taking them the Packers at Lambeau, even though in close fashion, they won with physicality, aggression, and just a great coach and a fantastic game plan by DeMeco Ryans. Let me tell you, holding that Packers offense to 10 points, that's unheard of. And I hate to say it, this might be the same situation with Matthew Stafford. I love the Rams. I think they're a great team, but it's especially if you're 0-2 in the season against the Niners on the biggest stage right before the Super Bowl, I find it hard for them to take down the Niners. Very close game, extremely close game. I got to roll with the Niners in this game. I know, I roll with them this far. Might as well ride and die with them,
Might as well.
We'll see. I would not be surprised if the Rams come out in a close game and beat them. But hats off to these two teams because these two teams have been the best teams in the NFC so far. So I'm still rolling with them. What do you think, Recruit?
It's a tough game. I highly disagree with you. But the thing is that, you said before in the divisional preview that the Niners, their run would end. Their journey would be over if they were to make the NFC Championship game. And you took that and you just said, nope. Because I think you assumed the Bucks were going to be in this position. If they played the Bucks, I'm sure you would be more confident.
Yes. Mm-hmm. If the Bucks were here, I think the Niners would have lost.
Right.
But they want this matchup against the Rams because the Rams have not been very well, have not played well against them.
There has to be it's a narrative that a lot of people are using. It's a narrative I've used a few times on some of these episodes. And the history of beating a team 3 times in a season is is not in favor of the team that's 2-0 a lot of the time. Because most of the time that doesn't occur where you have a chance to beat a team 3 times. It has to be something like this where you're in the conference championship game. And the Niners, I mean, they're hot, but I don't think their offense is. I mean, their touchdown was due to a blocked punt. And the Rams have a very, very good special teams unit, especially from that punter spot. So it's one of those things where do you really see Jimmy Garoppolo and this team scoring against this Rams defense again, considering the level that they're playing? Because I can see the Rams getting to a really high level defensively. That first half against Tampa Bay was phenomenal. I mean, they were playing against the greatest of all time, and they shut them down. Now, obviously, that second half was completely different, and that's the thing about the Rams. They'll play the first half and look like the best team in football. In the second half, it's like, wait a minute, how are they here? Right? So it really depends what Rams the Niners get at this point.
Yeah, I understand. I will bring 2 things up, though. One, last time they met, Garoppolo tossed for over 300. Matthew Stafford has not thrown over 300 in last of the 2 meetings, and he has 4 turnovers in those 2 games. Number 2, I was going to say, too, honestly, I blanked out. This is just going to be such a great game. This could go either way. This can easily blow up in my face. And I will admit, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I don't know. They're coming in with a lot of swagger, a lot of physicality, and the Rams are going to have – it's not going to be very easy for them to advance.
No.
I'll just say that.
It's never easy to advance in the NFL playoffs, unless if the Eagles are playing you on the road. But one of us are going to be wrong here. Okay, so that's just the way that this goes. But I have quite the confidence in my Rams over here that we're supporting for the day. But I wouldn't be mad to see either of these teams get in. They both deserve it. The NFC West
Exactly.
probably the best division. Like you mentioned, in the history of the past 15 years, they've just been great. There's always been a top dog team, and now the Rams have a chance to be that squad. This is going to be a battle. It's going to be a good night game to watch. Hopefully it's not boring and something you want to fall asleep to. But it's the playoffs. Who wants to fall asleep during the playoffs? I've done it. But, it is what it is. This should be a good game. I got the Rams. You got the Niners. I believe Joe also picked the Niners, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, and Nico is rolling with the Rams.
Nico's rolling with the Rams. He had Rams Bengals, right? I believe that's what it was. Or he might have mine, what I have. We're going to talk about that game now. The Bengals and the Chiefs, 10-7 versus 12-5. It's happening again. Both of these matchups are 10-7 versus 12-5, which is really impressive to see some of these underdogs get in. I mean, both 1 seeds were eliminated by the 2 teams that are 10-7 that we mentioned. And the Cincinnati Bengals came out as AFC North champions, something that a lot of people didn't really predict. People were saying Cleveland, people were saying Baltimore, and then injury issues happened with both of those teams, and the Bengals got hot. Joe Burrow. What more needs to be said about Joe Burrow? Because he might be the best quarterback in these playoffs. He's playing the best out of any quarterback in these playoffs, except for Patrick Mahomes after the 2-minute warning, where he threw 177 yards within that time frame. It's a battle of quarterback. If you like quarterback battles, this is going to be one that we're going to see for a long time. And this is really the first iteration of that in the postseason. Mahomes and Burrow. We just saw Mahomes and Allen. And we saw Mahomes and Roethlisberger, but come on. It's the wrong year for that. Burrow, Mixon, Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Uzama. This offensive weapon arsenal is one of the best in all of football. Now, the Chiefs are heavy favorites in this one, which is kind of surprising considering how well the Bengals have played. They have been a real issue for a lot of teams to deal with, but I think we all know why they are what they are. It's that offensive line. And if you go back to the draft, you have the Penei Sewell versus Jamar Chase decision, and I still think Jamar Chase was the right pick. I know originally I was a big advocate for drafting Penei Sewell, but now seeing how good Jamar Chase is, if they're able to go get offensive linemen going forward, even just get a few guards, it's really that guard spot they've been struggling with. Everywhere, but that guard spot especially. So O-line is one of those things you can build. They might have to spend money because while they have it, they're going to have it for now with Joe Burrow's contract situation, still on his rookie deal. They'll have to get some good offensive line contracts coming in, but that's why Chris Jones is going to have a field day with his team the Chiefs' defensive line is probably their strength defensively besides Tyrann Mathieu. So that's going to be a matchup nightmare. But we know Mahomes, Hill, they're all going to do their thing. They have a fast skill set there. Kelsey's Kelsey. But I think it's a lot more even than people were saying. I think this is probably going to be a better game than the second one. Mike, how you feeling?
I mean, this is like I definitely agree. This is a little bit more of an even matchup that we're seeing, And let's not forget that I don't agree with the heavy favorites like you. I completely agree with that. I don't think this should be heavily favored. This is definitely not going to be a blowout. But one thing I'll say is that Kansas City and Buffalo did just go head to head, and how crazy that game was. Oh my goodness. It was just fantastic, It was all offense, barely any defense played. Like each team allowed over 35 points is ridiculous. And one thing I'll say is that the Chiefs front seven, it is definitely their strength on the defense. Chris Jones, you got Anthony Hitchens, linebacker group is pretty solid, defensive line is very good, and definitely Cincinnati, if they want to go into the Super Bowl, they're going to have to protect their quarterback. They're going to have to win in the trenches. I find that a bit of a tall task for them, especially with their performance last week against Tennessee, allowing 9 sacks and Burrow getting hit on almost every single play that I saw. It was ridiculous. But one thing you brought up is that just that slew of weapons that they have on the offensive side, like Burrow, and I don't even need to go into it. You got probably rookie of the year, you got comeback player of the year, probably my favorite for that. And they've just been on such a hot streak. And this defense is very improved, allowing 16 points with Tennessee. Raiders didn't even go above 20. They've been a very stout defense. And I think a lot of people like to say they don't have answers for Hill, Kelsey, and their speed receivers. I think this Bengals defense has the answers to slow them down, at least. Maybe not completely neutralize them, but they have the players and the talent enough to slow them down and stop them. I'm going to roll with Cincinnati to move into the Super Bowl. I love Mahomes. I love Burrow. This is going to be a great matchup. It's going to be fantastic. Like you said, if you want to see elite quarterback play in the playoffs, this is the game to watch. But I don't know, I love Burrow's swagger. He's got a fantastic arm. 9 sacks he took, and he was still able to lead a game-winning drive. I don't know any quarterback that has enough resilience and enough toughness to still get up and post over 300. It's ridiculous. And like I said, the Cincinnati defense is very stout. I just don't trust the Kansas City secondary. I don't really see, but beyond Mathieu, I don't see really any talent or any just talent of Higgins, Jamar Chase's level to stop them compare on the Chiefs secondary. No, I just don't see Kansas City moving on to the Super Bowl this year. How about you, McCridge?
It's one of those things where either team getting to the Super Bowl would not be a surprise, right? These are two great teams. I'd be much more surprised by a Niners upset than a Bengals upset, obviously, here. But the thing is, Cincinnati is one of those teams where they're really fun. They get hot offensively. They somehow find ways to win. I mean, it wasn't a blowout game against the Titans. I think the Titans, kind of got written off a bit, and they didn't combat that narrative, but they got written off. People were saying that they're washed up, and without King Henry, they're nothing. And they showed that, but it was still a close game. It was a field goal game. Down to the last second, one drive by Joe Burrow. That's still a Titans defense that had 9 sacks, right? Kansas City's probably going to have a few sacks of their own. And you said what other quarterback would be able to do what Joe Burrow did? It's the guy that he's going to have to play against. It's Patrick Mahomes who'd probably do that as well. I mean, he's able to just make plays out of nothing. He might not be as fast as other quarterbacks in this league, but he's got the scramble ability of anybody.
Of course.
So he's just one of those guys that knows how to make open plays and buy time for his receivers. And if you give Tyreek Hill time, I mean, come on. So, and he's going to capitalize off some of these Bengals defenders, I think. The Bengals are a great team. They're young. They're developing. It's going to be a matter of contract management and all that. But I did mention Big Ben before. I know you're like, why are you mentioning Big Ben? He's officially retired. That was actually just announced. So interesting moment there that we're just sitting here. And that could be a video of its own even, because Big Ben, as much as we like to clown him around here, great career, Hall of Fame quarterback, undeniably.
What hope for
Phenomenal career for Ben Roethlisberger. But Mike, any more thoughts on this Bengals Chiefs game?
Well, I didn't hear your pick, so you're rolling with the Chiefs.
Oh yeah. I do have to make a pick. I am rolling with the Chiefs. I'm gonna stick with the favorites this weekend because we had a lot of upsets last weekend, and as much as you want to keep the fun rolling, this is real life, and most of the time it doesn't happen like that. So I'm gonna roll with the favorites. Get a Rams Chiefs Super Bowl, something that has been a fairy tale dream of the NFL for the past few years. That one of the best games in NFL history was played with the Rams and the Chiefs. So
100%.
I want to see it, and I think it's going to happen because they have two pretty simple matchups. I don't think it's too hard of matchups for them to win when you really think about it, right? How good is this Niners team going to be next year? How good is this Bengals team going to be next year? We know the Chiefs and Rams are going to be there, so it's just one of those games where we've gotten this far, and at this point in the season is when the real teams start winning. I do think the Bengals are real. The Niners, I think the Packers lost that game. The Niners didn't win that game. The special teams unit won that game. The Niners offense was unimpressive. I know it's Lambeau and everything, but Jimmy G is one of those quarterbacks on and off. He has brought a team to a Super Bowl. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm scared about. I don't have a lot of trust in Jimmy G. I just have a lot of trust in the run game, Kyle Shanahan, and the defense, who's been probably a very underrated unit. So that's really my trust in the Niners. I have no trust in Jimmy G.
No, that's the problem. For the Chiefs, I did say Mecole Hardman was going to get 2 touchdowns. He got 1. Okay, he scored. Okay, nobody else thought he was going to score, right? But they just have too many fast receivers. I don't think the Bengals can keep up offensively. They can keep up. I don't think they can match it offensively, what they're going to do. I don't see Joe Burrow doing what Josh Allen did last weekend and just constantly matching Mahomes with the speed he did. I don't see it happening, although this Chiefs secondary might get mauled at the same time. It could really go either way, but I'm going to roll with the Chiefs in this one. I think that it's just their time. I think they've caught fire at the right moment. And they won a better victory. They had a better victory. So we're going to go with Kansas City. And Mike, anything else you have to add in general?
Nothing, not really much, really. I mean, like you said, both of these games honestly could go either way. We can shoot ourselves in the foot with some of our predictions, but at the end of the day, this is the NFL. We're here to enjoy the games, The NFL has given us really very exciting season, and really can't wait to see who's in the Super Bowl. Either we're going to get the classic rematch of the Monday Night Football game between the Chiefs and the Rams, or we can get a little nostalgic and do a 90s rematch of the Niners and the Bengals. We'll have to see. Either way, exciting Super Bowl coming up. Can't wait for that. If it was
Bengals Rams, it's almost like the quarterback roles are reversed, where you have a really cool, calm, and collected potential Hall of Fame Bengals quarterback who's also named Joe. And then can you even name the Bengals quarterback at the time? I believe it was Ken Anderson. But how many people are going to remember Jimmy Garoppolo 20 years from now, 30 years from now? That Super Bowl would be 40 years from now. So 40 years down the line, people are going to remember Joe Burrow. I'm not sure about Jimmy Garoppolo. We'll see what happens. Anything is possible here in the NFL. And on the break, anything's possible around here too. But that will do it from us. It's been John and Mike. It's always good to sit down and talk football and make sure that my predictions are always right. I'm in a pick'em league. I'm in first place right now. I kind of need these to go my way. But this has been On the Break. Thank you so much for watching, Mike. Thank you for coming down and sitting and talking with me. It's always a good time. We'll see you around later, probably for a reaction of these games or a Super Bowl preview. It's On the Break. Thanks for watching.